Welcome back to Sister Scoot, where we are giving you guys the top 3 Marvel news topics of the week. And this is an exciting one because we got our first look at, and I'm going to say it wrong. And I'm just, you know what? I just got to preface it's going to come out wrong. Spider-Man Noir.
You were close. You were close,
Okay.
really close. It's actually the first poster because I guess we did. I don't
that's
remember this, but we did get a first look apparently over the summer. Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. I mean, maybe we covered it, maybe we didn't. I don't remember
Okay.
that.
Sure.
I was reading an article and they were like, we got a first look over the summer, and I was like, really, when? So maybe we missed that, but this was the first poster that came out and it was very cool. They released it in both black and white and in color. It sounds like the show itself will be released in both black and white and color as well.
Interesting.
Which is pretty cool. But to circle it all back to the actual title, it's Spider-Noir. So not Spider-Man Noir, just Spider-Noir, which is interesting.
Oh, but did I pronounce noir right?
You did.
So I did the hard part. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Growth. I love this for you. But a lot of the conversation around this particular poster has been the name of Spider-Man, because we have C.B. Riley, of course, on the door. So very interesting, because the version that we saw in the movie, in the Spider-Verse movies, was Peter Parker. So people are hypothesizing, is it a different version? Could be from a different universe, or if it's the same version from the Spider-Verse movies, is he using an alias? And that's some of the conversation that at least I've seen since the posters came out. But overall, very, very fun. And I forgot this was coming out next year, but I'm very excited.
I also forgot it was coming out next year because it's not inherently Marvel doing it, correct?
I think it's a Sony, but it's coming out on Amazon Prime. It's very weird.
Yeah, which is why I think I also forgot it was coming out, and honestly forgot they were even working on it. So when you're saying we had a first look at some point over the summer, beats me because couldn't remember that to save my life. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited. Shout out to all those eagle-eyed fans, because honest to God, I saw the poster and I was like, cool. And I just moved on. Like, I wasn't looking at people's names on the door. I just was like, cool that they released it in color and black and white. Like, that's awesome considering, who the character is. And also just remembering the Spider-Verse movies, because quite frankly, I remember him being in it. I really couldn't tell you anything else at this point about what his character did in the movies. So shout out to everybody who was able to point all of those great details out, because I am not the one. But I'm really quite excited. I don't know if we have a full date for it. Do we?
I don't believe so. Anything that I was reading was not giving like a specific date, just said 2026.
Okay. I didn't think so.
Hopefully we'll get a little bit, now that we have a first poster, hopefully we'll get some more details in the coming weeks. Because I'm excited. I'm also curious to see how it lines up, knowing that Marvel Studios is releasing so many shows next year, whether they try to coordinate that and make it so that they're not, putting out two shows at the same time with Marvel characters, or if they're gonna go head to head. Should be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to think, because they still are in that weird tandem relationship with Spider-Man where they both kind of own custody of him. I would like to think that they're going to release it in its own area and not so much over top of another Marvel project, especially because Marvel, it might not be Marvel's like for sure project, but they still own a stake in the game.
Well, plus we already have 2 Spider-Man projects coming out next year with Brand New Day. It's Brand New Day, right? I keep getting that and Brave New World mixed up. Yeah, it's Brand New Day.
Sure.
And Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2. So there's already a lot, considering it's all coming out in 1 year, a lot of Spider-Man content now with this third piece in the show. So It's going to be a Spider-Man heavy year next year. I'm not complaining.
It will. Yeah, I was going to say, are we complaining about it?
No,
I don't think we
not
are.
even a little bit. No.
Okay. Speaking of weird things to maybe complain about, this was actually a kind of a good segue. So Endgame is returning to theaters, I believe next September is the date. And I think at first everybody was complaining about it because they were like, what a money grab. But it turns out it's going to have a new end credit that is rumored to pretty much go directly into Doomsday. So not only do we get to go sit in theaters again, and I say again, actually excitedly, like we get to go and watch Endgame again. And, that just theatrical release being on the big screen as it should be. but we actually get a new end credit to move us into whatever is going to happen 3 months afterwards.
Yeah. I do just want to specify, it sounds like this end credit has not yet been totally confirmed. I was reading
Right.
through some articles today. The only thing that is truly confirmed is that they're re-releasing Endgame in September of 2026. Catch us there. We were definitely making plans already. But then a couple of hours later, maybe a day or so later, the rumor started that there's going to be this new end credit, because I forgot about this, even though we literally just replayed Endgame. There's actually no end credits. It's just the sound of the hammer on the metal. Obviously, is a great homage to Tony Stark and Iron Man. So it would be interesting to then add that on. Some people are hypothesizing it could just be, like a stinger for Doomsday. Some are saying, no, it's going to directly lead. I know there's been a lot of rumors, and I forgot about these until I was reading articles prepping for this episode, but a lot of people are talking about the rumors with Steve and Peggy and how that's actually going to be a big deal in Doomsday. And I know, Caitlin, and that's, what started it all and everything like that. So I'll be really curious. I mean, there has to be a rhyme or reason why they're doing it. Some are saying, that Doomsday is essentially a direct sequel now to Endgame, which kind of annoys me, because, like, why then have we been watching other stuff for the last 6 or 7 years? Like, that's kind of confusing and a little bit frustrating. So I don't know. I am excited to go watch it. Look, everybody talks about their Endgame experience. Like, it is some of the most, like, iconic movie theater going experiences that most of us as fans have had. So I'm ready to relive it, but I also hope they give us a little bit more, and we'll see, because supposedly we're getting a Doomsday trailer soon anyway. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, listen, guys, I actually don't remember because I have a memory of a squirrel. I don't know if I said the rumor is that there will be an additional or a new end credit. But either way, if that is true, I'm very excited for that. I think it's a really smart. I know everybody's like, "Oh, it's the cash grab." I don't really care. I think it's a really smart way to do it. It's like when they re-release new footage, or like what was like it was like the Snyder cut for DC and like stuff like that. I think it's really smart, and if you have fans who are into it, and especially if it's going to be something new, I think that's really cool. So regardless of what it is, I do hope it's not just a re-release, but I trust Marvel, and I don't think for a second that they would just do a re-release. I do think that in and of itself, I could understand the complaints of it being like, oh, they're just trying to like go back to what did so well for them and, get some money back and all the stuff that people have been saying on the internet. I could understand in that way. I trust Marvel to not be doing that. So I'm excited either way. I do want to go back and see it, as I guess at that point I'll be a 25-year-old, adult versus being what, like 17, 18. I don't even think I was 18. I might have been 17 when, Endgame initially came out. So it would be kind of cool to like go back and see it on the big screen, regardless of what it may or may not lead into. But I'm hoping it does have some nice little breadcrumbs into Doomsday.
Yeah, for sure. I just hope that the stuff that's come out in between is not made meaningless. Like, that's my only concern, basically.
No, I think there's a no, guys, I don't work for Marvel. But I think there's a really smart way of kind of playing into how Endgame sets off the events that may have been happening in the background. I actually think it could be a good way of retconning Kang.
Fair.
Because you can't forget we did start off the saga with Kang being the supposed end goal. So I actually think it could be a good way for them to kind of retcon Doom into it and being like, there have been strings being pulled this whole time, but you don't know that because you didn't realize it until this exact moment. Now we're showing you the man behind the curtain, if you will.
That's fine with me, as long as they do that the way you're describing. Which, look, if they're going to go through all of this work, to your point of actually re-releasing this in theaters, I would have to think that they're putting some real thought behind this, especially because, the last 2.5 phases have been challenging for them. And I think that, like, my hope is, let's frame it this way. My hope is that they're going to approach the moving forward more strategically, knowing that there's been a lot of like frustration on the fans end from how things have been handled. So I'm hopeful that that's kind of what's driving this particular strategy.
Me too. Me too. On to our very last topic, and this is in kind of conjunction with what we were just talking about. Secret. Yep. Silver Surfer. Sorry, there's a lot of S's here. Silver Surfer has been rumored to be in Secret Wars. Now, I think this is kind of interesting because, I mean, we didn't have like a for sure ending with her specifically. Obviously, she is the one who kind of went with Galactus and into their black hole kind of cosmic whatever, and they're supposedly out in like the furthest area of space, if my understanding of the science is like working in my brain. But it would be kind of interesting to see her back. I think a lot of people were fans of the depiction of her in the most recent Fantastic Four. So, I mean, I'd quite enjoy seeing her return.
Yeah, I mean, from a character standpoint and like an actor standpoint, I thought that Julia Garner did a great job in the role.
Same.
I think they added a lot of depth to her, and I'll be honest, I have not seen the OG Fantastic Four in a while, so I don't remember exactly how they portrayed Nor and Rad in, the OGs, so I can't really compare, but I will say she has a lot of depth and a lot of complexity to her character, and I think that made her really, really interesting. And so I would like to see her again. But I also think, if you're thinking about the ramifications of what this could mean, if she is in Secret Wars, if she is there, in my head, that means so is Galactus, because if she could get out, so could he. So I think that adds a whole gigantic layer of like, what does that mean and how does that affect the story? So that will definitely be interesting. But I also think, we talked a lot about when we were covering Fantastic Four, the rumors about how him being pushed through space, something that large with that much power and that much gravity to him, could affect, not only that universe, but the multiverse as a whole. So in some ways that kind of validates some of the theories that we had immediately after Fantastic Four, if this particular rumor turns out to be true.
Yeah. I also think that was kind of my first thought as well. The Silver Surfer's returning. I think Galactus would be as well. So I think we're going to have to see if this one pans out. I would be happy if it does. And like you said, the fallout with having Galactus also return could be quite interesting and give us maybe a pat on our back if we end up being maybe a little bit right. We don't get to do that often. So it would be really nice to be able to be like, that's cool that we kind of thought that through a little bit. So I'm excited. But again, we'll have to see if this one pans out.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys, this has been this week's Sister Scoop. Make sure you guys are joining us next week as we take on 3 more Marvel news topics of, I was going to say choice. It's really not. It's what comes out, what Marvel decides to share with us. But make sure you guys are joining us there and also on the podcast side as we continue our replay series with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. See you guys next week. Bye.